I made a mistake. John is still alive. Did you guys ever watch Fishing with John? The travel fishing documentary series on the Independent Film Channel, starring John Lurie in the mid-90s. Not to be confused with Painting with John on HBO last year, although the same John. Hi, Rooster. Anyway, there was an episode where John was fishing, ice fishing, with, I think, Matt Dillon, but it might have been Willem Dafoe. Definitely not Matt Damon. And they died at the end of the episode. Remember the next episode, they come back and the narrator just goes, I made a mistake. John is still alive. And then they just keep going. That was good. I like that a lot. Yeah, I got a friend who's like kind of a pioneer in the non sequitur stand-up comedy world, and I think that dude's rubbing off on me, so I apologize. Welcome to week 35 of the 2021 Gardening Journal. I haven't done this in a month. I watched a lot of gardening videos from other people, and they're all like, yeah, you're probably feeling pretty down by now, and I'm like, you're right, man. I'm feeling down by now. Some stuff's going well. I have some things I can hold my head high about. A lot has failed. But more to the point, any day now, in fact today, I'm going to start taking a lot of the garden apart to rearrange for next year. So I figured I owed it to you guys to do one more video before I do that. There may be more. I am endeavoring to plant some fall crops, but it's not really working. But then I was watching this like really talented gardener who's also in Zone B, watching her YouTube channel yesterday, and she's just planting her brassicas. So I'm like, I'm not that far behind. Hers don't look any worse than mine. Or any better than mine. So I don't know, maybe it's all going fine. Feels like winter is coming and the brassicas are not, but yeah, I don't know. So we'll take a quick tour here, and then I got to harvest all the peppers in the birdies beds because I have to move the birdies beds, which is going to be a whole thing in a separate video because I realize there are no videos on YouTube of people moving birdies beds, and so I'm going to make a separate one because this is going to be a horrible, horrible thing, and I figure other people should learn from my misery over the weekend. But let's go ahead and take a tour, and I'll show you where things are for one last time in 2020. And maybe we'll do this again next year. Maybe we'll do this next week. I just don't know. Let's go. So you will recall somewhere in the middle of the summer, I decided to do a comparison on the two birdies beds. Once I realized how bad it was getting with the deer and the squirrels eating the leaves, I covered one bed and cut it all the way back. And I cut this bed all the way back and did not cover it. In the end, that bed that was covered definitely won. But this bed did really well up until a couple weeks ago. It got overrun with weeds, which I cannot tell if that was related to it being the uncovered bed. And then about 3 weeks ago, these plants back here were just sad and dying. So I cut them back. This one bounced back pretty quick. This one's not bouncing back. It's bouncing back, but not too quick at all. But you'll see there's one there and one there that didn't bounce back at all. This little guy, but then so half the bed is still producing, and it's going great. I mean, they're producing a ton of peppers here. Just in the last week, it started getting these white dots, which I got last year as well. It's some sort of fungus. I don't know what it is. When I Google it, nobody has this disease on their peppers besides me. I do white spots on peppers, and there are different types of white spots, so I don't really know. But they did good last year. Last year I got a lot of this white spot problem. It has transferred to this bed now as well. But really, we went a good long while. I feel pretty good. So this bed's got the Johnny's red flames in it. And a lot of them haven't turned red yet. A lot of them have. You can see in here I got a bunch. But I'd really like to hold out another week or two on moving this bed. Because I want all these peppers here. And there's a ton of them. I want them to turn green. But this bed, I think we're done with. I think we are going to harvest the rest of these peppers. And then we got to figure out how to move this thing. That is over a cubic yard of dirt. Maybe 1.5. Yeah, maybe about a cubic yard and a half of dirt. So the plan here is where the hoop houses are going to go. Last time I talked to you a month ago, the plan was to put the hoop houses over here and then put the birdies beds, the two where they are there, and the two new ones that I haven't assembled right there. That is a pretty good plan, but my wife pointed out to me that this will require some pretty significant terracing to get the hoop houses in, and this will not. So I measured the hoop houses I'm buying from gardeners.com, and they fit right there. They're exactly that wide. Won't even have to go into the yard, and I can get two of them vertically right here. Or, you know, two of them in a row right there. So I got to move those two birdies beds. Two birdies beds over there, two birdies beds there. These two will have a trellis arch. That's where the cucumbers are going to go next year. If I have to, I'll chicken wire in the whole thing. Don't need to hire any landscapers, which are insanely expensive these days. And I can just put the birdies beds there and sort of shovel the dirt around to level them without having to do the whole thing. So that is what we're going to do, which means we got to empty out this birdies bed. The dirt in it has settled significantly through the year. You'll recall there's logs in the bottom of this, so it makes sense it's settling. So we got, I don't know, like 5-6 inches here that it's settled. And the bottom is probably kind of messed up, half decayed logs. So my hope is I can dig around the edges. Well, whatever, we'll do that in a separate video, but that's the big thing. But I got to harvest those peppers today and then cut them out and then pull them out. That is one thing I got to do today. We'll do a normal harvest on these peppers. If I think, I just think it's got to wait another week or two. There's so many of these green Johnny's Red Flames, so many, maybe 100, and I want them to be red before I harvest them. So this bed might not get pulled out today. Also, I got to figure out one before I even do a second one. So that's the thing. Here is the hoop house. We've done a lot of work in here since you last saw it. All the green beans are done. They're delicious. There's 4 different varieties. One variety went really, really, really well. The Thai long beans, just fantastic. Really enjoyed them. Planted all this as brassicas. The lettuce is going great. My spinach is going pretty well in half of it, not the other half. But all the cauliflowers, broccolis, I mean, they're growing. I do them from seed, and I did them more than a month ago. You might have even seen it in your last video. That one over there is going okay, I guess. There we go. That one's doing okay. And they're going. And I watched a video from another gardener that knew what she was doing in Zone 7B, my zone. And hers didn't look much better, so maybe I'm doing okay. I will keep at it. The lettuce is going great. I've actually done many harvests on these lettuces. We've been eating a lot of salads with the lettuces, the radish greens, the Asian green onions, the spinach, the radish greens. Those carrots I really spaced them out, but they're still too small, so the carrots are going to be a failure again. That was, I don't remember what that was. Let's go look. Beets. This is beets. They're not doing so well. Not good beets. But we've got good radishes. They're great. I've been picking them, doing great. Carrots are still too small. Asian green onions doing great. Spinach is getting picked and eaten. It's doing great. Those are more of the brassicas, cauliflower, broccoli. None of that's doing well. These are all peppers I saved, replanted late in the season, and they're all doing pretty well. Pretty happy about them. Cucumbers are done. I got a couple in the end. A couple nice ones, but nothing to write home about. So complete reworking on the cucumbers next year. That's one of the big motivators of, ooh, look at that bug. Pollinate my petals. One of the big motivations of the whole garden reorg is to get cucumbers into a birdie's bed on a trellis for next year. That's a little pumpkin. It's actually doing okay. It was a late seed plant. A lot of little pumpkins, nothing special. The grapes are all doing really well. In the end, I got a good growth out of them all this year. It's considering half the year was wasted letting animals eat them as they grew. Once I moved them into the hoop house, they did great. I still don't know what I want to do about this because now I got to overwinter them, which I got to figure out. And then next year, I got to put them somewhere, and then they'll just get eaten. So I don't really know. I don't know. It's very frustrating. How do people grow grapes around here? That woman I was watching in 7B, she does not have the same animal problems I do. I might have to fence something in. I don't know. We're still thinking about this. This is late planted snow peas. I just threw this thing on here to protect them when they're seedlings. Worked great. Got to figure out a trellising thing for these today. That's on my list. Might just hang some trellis netting from this tree. I don't know. I got to figure that out today. That's on the weekend's list. Some lettuce, and that's doing well. There's the blueberry bush. Took forever to start growing because it was getting eaten, but since I moved into the hoop house, it too has been doing pretty well. So, yeah, I mean, I could have done worse this year. These cucumbers were a profound disappointment. I thought they were going to really deliver in the end, and they did not. And I'm not 100% sure why. My theory is this netting does not allow for bees to get through it. So they didn't get pollinated in time. You'll see there's a few small ones on the outside, but not on the inside. So I got new bird netting for next year's hoop houses, and it is big enough to let bees pass through. That's a big change for next year on the hoop houses. Oh man, so many peppers in here, just so many peppers. The basils are still doing fantastically well. We had one night where it got to be 30 or 42 degrees, and I got really worried I was going to lose all my basil. I only lost one kind of already sort of sad weak one. 3 of these were huge bushes that got all woody, and I cut them back, and they're bouncing back. What I need to do this weekend is figure out where in my house to put a couple basil plants to have my overwinter basil. I think I know where they're going to go, but that is a task for this weekend. More snow peas. Gonna make a chicken wire cylindrical trellis for that and just leave it in place. That's my plan there. This was the fennel. It grew all year. I never harvested it. It is starting to get fennel big, bulby, like at the bottom, but I think it was probably a failure. This is a pumpkin. It has been relentlessly attacked by squirrels. It was a baby pumpkin, but it does have one baby pumpkin on it. We'll probably harvest that this week. That was soybeans. It got completely eaten, as that bed, which was originally soybeans, completely eaten. Baby pumpkin, these things have been relentlessly eaten. This is one of the 3 loofahs that look dead, but in fact go up and around and all the way into the upstairs, and it's crazy. There's one there, one here, also looks dead. You'll see it's just a thin vine. Disappears as it goes to dead leaves, and then it goes all the way up over the tomato trellis up there. Same with that one over there. That's the 3rd one, up, and then it starts growing. None of the 3 ever produced a loofah, which is really sad. I think maybe they're in too small of pots. We will try again next year, though, because I do enjoy their vininess. Let's go upstairs. This was a cucumber. It has been completely dug out by squirrels. This was a cucumber. It delivered one great cucumber and is trying to deliver a second, but is probably going to fail. Oh, in fact, it just came off of my hand. Might be okay. We'll save it. Pumpkin, growing one pumpkin. The old determinate tomatoes from earlier in the year, should have culled them ages ago. Probably won't do it today because I'm lazy, but very soon those are going. Probably when I build the second birdies beds over there, and I need soil for the bottom, and I'll repurpose that soil. Okay, so some basils. All the basils doing great. Basils are my big. There's a little lizard. Hi, little lizard. Bye bye. The basils have been doing great. 7, 8 varieties of basil, and it did great, all of it. So that's nice. The tomatoes, however, have been a failure. The netting did not stop the squirrels. They ate them all. They're still growing. They've popped out the top, and they're growing up here. And then you're still occasionally producing a tomato still. But this has led me to accept that next year I need to do tomatoes in a hoop house. So that's kind of motivating the whole garden reorg. And I will start taking these down in the next week or so. I'll grab those tomatoes today. And as soon as those 2 are done ripening, I guess those will go. The green stock planter. I like the planter. I approached it wrong. I've cut back most everything in it because there's a lot of, this is celery. The frost really killed this thing hard. And I never, the dirt in it was not good to begin with. So we're going to start taking this apart in the next week or 2 as well. I like the product. I will try it again differently next year. What I'm thinking is next year will be the only thing up here on the porch, and it'll be all basil. And it'll just be my daily basil cutter instead of these plants here. I'll have one thing up here, and it'll be great. That's my plan. Parsley, sage, all my mint. What's that? Thyme, oregano, rosemary. The sage died. Sage died. Parsley died. The frost got it. Yeah, this stuff's all kind of sad. So that's where we are at. We're mostly done. We are starting now to begin for the next year. But you see these loofahs. They just grew and grew and grew. And they would grow little loofahs. Let's see if we can find one. But then they just sort of wither and die. Ooh, that's a nice tomato. Maybe that'll turn red before we lose it. Yeah, they just sort of wither and die and never grew into full-grown loofahs. So it was a partially successful experiment. I mean, look at this one. This is crazy, right? From that little barren stalk down there, that little planter. Here's a loofah starting to try to grow, but they just don't do it in the end. It's fun. I'll do it again. That's so funny. The damage doesn't look as bad from up here. Yeah, all right. So let's go harvest some peppers. Okay, well, that was rough pulling out all those roots. I don't normally like to do that. I like to leave them in the bed to, add some organic material back for the next year. But we will actually put all that organic material back in the bed at the bottom when we move it and refill it. And same with the rest of this mulch. And then we'll add some compost, and then we're going to do a cover crop for the winter. So I don't think we can really move this thing right now. I gotta do some digging in it, but first I'm gonna do the rest of my harvesting because I'd like to get that done today. So let's move on. All right, well, I got all that netting off so I can get in there and get the peppers and prop things up better. It's lunchtime, so I'm gonna go. Oh my God, there's so many more peppers. It's out of control. I don't have to do that whole thing. But it's lunchtime. We will be back. See you soon. Look at all these peppers we've got so far. It's out of control. All right, be right back. Well, that is a lot of peppers. Look at that. It's months and months of my stir fries. So I think we're pretty good for peppers. We got these here. I cut one back, but there's 2 shishito plants. They're still producing a lot. And I eat shishitos once a week, and I think I can get another week out of this. So we're not gonna cut those back this week. We cut those cucumbers back because we think they're done, but I got other stuff too. This bed, basically I just want all the remaining green Johnny's red flame peppers to turn red. I don't care what else it does. All those turn red to be like those beautiful red peppers. So I'm actually not going to re-net it because I don't care anymore if the deer eat the leaves. They don't eat the peppers. So maybe they'll clean it out for me a little bit. There's a couple Thai plants in here. You can see they're getting the spotting fungus as well. If I could untangle it, I would cut those out, but we're not gonna bother. We're gonna leave that. So we're gonna do compost now, and then we're gonna start trying to figure out this bed, but that's a separate video. Let's do compost. All in all, I'm pretty happy with one season of compost here. It is, about a foot thick. So it's pretty legit. It was about 90 degrees when I had the thermometer in it. It's warm. Just stirred in some new stuff so it doesn't look like it's breaking down, but a lot of that is just full on compost now. Our leaf mold compost was this whole bin, and now there's just this rich, thick, maybe 6-8 inches of compost there at the bottom. It's awesome. Yeah, all this will get used when I start filling up the new birdies beds in a week or 2. I will sift it, of course. Get the good stuff at the bottom. But yeah, feeling pretty good. Well, I think that's about it for today. Probably this year. Who knows? We're going to harvest these peppers in a week or 2. Maybe the brassicas will do something good enough that I'll pop in to show you. We are going to make a video now about moving this birdies bed. Look at our beautiful basils. Look at those beautiful basils. Oh, it's amazing. That one's been cut back to its roots once. Look at this, holy basil. One giant holy basil plant. Just amazing. Yeah, anyway, we're done. We're gonna make a video about moving that bed. Thank you all for watching. Sorry to disappear on you for a month. Have a lovely time, and I will see you someday. Maybe in a week or 2, maybe in the spring.